Hey, I'm going to go over what I've been doing in my classes, just a little overview. I've changed things significantly. I used to work with the template I was given for English 101 online, but it wasn't working. Students were asked to think about the concepts of an essay, and then the next week the whole essay would be due. And I've taken it and broken it down so that they're working on the essays a little bit at a time. So I'm going to walk you through, actually, I'm just going to go into this one here. I'll walk you through how I'm handling things. Number one, um, I'm adding things like quizzes on criterion use, just having the students acknowledge that they've been asked to purchase criterion in week one so that then in week five, when it's required, they can't tell me they didn't know. And things like that, making sure they understand how to get criterion, making sure they understand that it's required, etc. I did the same thing for Proctor U readiness quiz. I'm just making sure that they understand the computer requirements, that it can't be done on a Chromebook or a MacBook, and that they have to make arrangements if that's what they're using for computing. I'm putting that in week one, hopefully to stave. It didn't work, but it was an attempt. I still had students not ready to deal with Proctor U, but this was fewer of them not ready to deal with Proctor U, perhaps. So weekly assignments, I just want to kind of take a look. I'm going to look at week 4 just as a sample. So there's a video always on the skills that we're working on, essay structure, handouts that go with these live sessions. These are targeted. I didn't want to record the entire class. Instead, I went in 3 sections. And I do that often. I don't necessarily record the whole class, but the pertinent parts of class, and that way students are more willing to watch it. Making sure there's a video on how to sign up for things. Then I've switched my discussion boards. They're no longer just about concepts. They are pieces of the essays. So they're workshopping their thesis paragraphs, and that's their initial post is due Wednesday. I get feedback to them by Friday, and then they have a draft due. So by the time this draft is due, they've had feedback on their outlines, they've had feedback on their thesis paragraphs, and then in week 5, there's even another discussion board workshop for concluding paragraphs, so they can even workshop that before they turn in their final draft. So they'll have feedback on the draft and the concluding paragraph separately from me and their peers before that final draft is due. So it breaks it down into several pieces. We start the research essay in week 6, and we do it a few pieces at a time, and I believe it's due in week 11. So again, by the time they get to this, they've been putting it together. I think in week 9 it shows you they have an assignment on how to do just one source paragraph and a works cited list. Again, those so they're doing their 3 source paragraphs from their library sources. Before that, in week 7, they do one source paragraph on a source that I provided, and then they do one on understanding sources, saying which sources they found from the database. And so they're doing the assignment a few paragraphs at a time. So by the time it gets turned in, they've had feedback on their thesis paragraph, on all their source paragraphs. You can see they're getting a revising workshop here. They've had a works cited list workshop. And by the time they turn it in, they've had feedback on all the different parts of it. So for the students who are working with me and following along, it breaks it down for them. So there's never a week where they're having to write a huge essay all at once. And I've been doing that in 102 as well. And that's really good. Another thing that I did in one class, and because I wasn't sure how it would work, but I'm definitely implementing it for all my classes and definitely bringing it earlier into the semester, is before they did their research essay revision for the very end of the semester, I had them do a quiz where they gave me a screenshot of their feedback, and then put the feedback in their own words, like what were you asked to work on. and I'm going to be putting that probably in their first assignment where they get real feedback from me, and then periodically throughout the semester between the draft and the final draft, asking them to show me that they've engaged with that instructor feedback. The grade book, I know you asked for a printout of that grade book, but it's hard to read because the names of things don't fit in the tabs on Excel very well. So just kind of show what we're doing for this. It's a very robust grade book with 2 to 3 assignments in every week. Usually 3. Usually there's a quiz, a discussion board, and an assignment of some sort in each week. And again, I'm getting those graded usually week 1 work is graded by Wednesday of week 2. If I have to push it to Friday, sometimes I do. And, when there's an essay due, sometimes it takes me to Sunday. But generally, I'm getting things graded and feedback put in by Wednesday or Friday at the latest of the following week. I hope that's everything you need.